Well, we'll go from one end of Grand Valley to the other. Eric Greinke, how would I start with Eric Greinke? He was the first person that came up with the notion of Grand Rapids as Paris on the Grand. Is that right? Okay. Paris on the Grand. The idea that we could have an indigenous culture here that has its own self-definition, that has its variety and its wonders of its own, that don't have to go elsewhere, which is one of the notions I've kept all these years. It's the reason I set up this conference when you get down to it, as far as you follow it back to the root. So I owe Eric a lot of things. He was the one that persuaded me to become a small press publisher. And a lot of other things, I suppose. I suppose we'd have to talk about how, if you go to Grand Valley, Amaranthus magazine is his baby. It's there because of him. He was one of the people that was among the student poets and others who put on the National Poetry Festivals in the 70s, which brought some of the hottest, newest, most interesting poets in the country here year after year. And if I look at my generation, part of what defines us is we went to those festivals and we were able to spread out, see what everybody else was doing elsewhere, bring it back home, and it made us far more sophisticated as poets. One of the things I've talked about all the way through this thing is the idea that you have to have your indigenous culture, but it cannot be something that is separated from what's going on elsewhere. The beauty of what we see in the Grand Rapids Poets, when the anthology comes out, we stretch all the way from Romania to Poland to Ireland and hundreds of other places. It's almost as though what I saw when I gathered these poems together was an enormous group of people who were here but also there. You notice with Todd, he took us to Portland a great deal. So if I talk about Eric, he was a poetry writing teacher at the Grand Rapids City High. He was a bookseller. He was a literary publisher and continues to be a literary publisher. He's been a clinical social worker, and he has published an enormous number of books. If I were to say the last bit, his books are distributed in 25 countries and translated into 8 languages. One of our elders, one of our real masters here that has been hiding out in Rockford. Come on, Eric. It's all yours.
Dave, take this off. I'm already sweating. I think we better go serious now. The vampires. Vampires have a lot to answer for. They wear formal wear while they siphon the blood from virginal peasants, many in their own employ. They slink around under cover of night, suddenly appearing at the sides of their sleeping victims with no regard to privacy. They are sensitive to the price of silver, as well as certain commodities, not to mention real estate, not to mention blood banks, butcher shops, orthopedic offices. They skip every holiday but one. They are dead on the run. Their memories are long, as are their teeth and nails. But they have no patience, especially for the weak living. Asleep in material fortresses where no mirrors dare reflect, they dream of dying until waking to hunt the souls of the living, ultimate dark muggers. Who the hell are these bastards? Why are they in charge? The streets run red. Streams carry the blood to the sewer arteries to mingle with the melting sea. You might be a vampire if you're still talking a year after your funeral. You might be a bloodsucker if you fall asleep to awaken in somebody's nightmare. You might be a vampire if all the murders increase your profits. You might be a vampire if everyone you see looks like fresh meat. This would be a good place to live if it wasn't for the damn vampires. You see them lurking everywhere nowadays, drinking in bars, flying on planes, plastic surgery, cosmetics, vodka. They insidiously develop land deals. They compulsively gamble in casinos. Their breaths reek of blood. Their immortal souls are lost forever in congressional rolls. nature preserve. In the woods behind my home is a nature preserve. Its central feature is a lake. It takes me about an hour to walk around it. There are no dogs allowed, no fires, no swimming, no boating, no metal detectors, no camping, no horses, no picnics, no. I am to fish only in designated areas. I am to walk clockwise around the lake or be stopped by the tall steel turnstile. Last winter, the newspaper printed a letter from a group of malcontents who crusaded to get rid of the beavers for chewing down the birch trees. Another group began a campaign to get rid of the dread purple loosestrife, a tall flower that grows by the water's edge in a manner offensive to nature. Right now, the focus is on the distasteful blue spruce, which the officials of the preserve deem to be opportunistic and unwelcome among the natives. They're building a trail that will penetrate to the heart of the wildest part of the park, leading from the township center, easy access for all who prefer their wildlife preserved. Memory. I wake in Civil War, play endless games of solitaire. I die and am reborn. I breathe until my breath is torn by unexpected stare or look in mirror, sudden laugh or uninvited tear. No one knows how slowly I have grown. No one knows the feelings I alone have given skin and bone to float like ghosts past shadows of the piers and reefs, then rise on bells to walk asleep through burning cities of white peace, where green dreams bloom on the pastures and plains of my newly wounded hands. Clown. I do not know me, but a train of thought drags me through illusory galaxies where silly circus music mocks my mortal wounds while I run in circles wearing shoes that don't fit. An unfortunate immigrant, buffeted by forces of history, I somehow manage a foolish laugh, released from myself, detached, my face a funny mask. Here's a narrative. Ceasefire. Russ and Dave were brothers, and they were funny guys, good buddies to play war with. Dozens of boys would gather to shoot BB guns at each other in the woods behind their house. One summer day, I went to play war with Russ and Dave. I had the single-shot Daisy with me that my father gave me before he left. From down the block, I could see the police cars and ambulance on their front lawn, right up against the big maple we had all climbed together the day before. Dave was led in tears to the police car. Russ was carried to the ambulance, but it didn't leave. They'd been playing with their father's 12-gauge shotgun. Russ came around a corner, and his brother shot him in the chest from the hip. We didn't see Dave for a year. They sent him off to a group home in Colorado for the 7th grade. When he returned, he wasn't the same. He cried easily and never smiled. For a while, after Dave killed Russ, we all stopped playing war. None of my friends shot anyone for the rest of that hot summer when the war took David's brother. Refrain. Apocalyptic moments recall scenes of adolescent glory. The man in the moon transforms into an ancient pock-marked battlefield. What goes up experiences gravity right into the grave. Even so, I light my best smile and continue to write my life, anticipation mitigated by anonymous regret. Happy to be sane underneath the sun, although arraigned by prosecutions of shame, I do not refrain. Persona. Coming into another spring, 60 summers down, white light burns me through dark days. I peel the layers from the onion of memory, given the gravity of the grave. So now my persona is consuming my doppelganger. I feel the triumph of stone traveling from gravel to dust, the fading smile of a waning moon, another seizure on the seismic meter, still one more tattoo on the face of my battered public bust. the mist. I wander through memory caverns in search of the elusive present, like a big fish that struggles upstream to spawn in time's river one last time. Like a mad wind in an ancient storm, dead friends pierce the peaceful solitude where I have come to take my soft rest in the depth of a winter night's dream. In the arid badlands of desire, past the long watches of sleepless nights, I hold communion with those lost ghosts, even as I pass into the ever-darkening mist. Here's another narrative. There and back. This is for an old friend of mine, Brad Harris. Going to the 1968 Democratic Convention seemed like fun. I talked my friend Brad into it, though he was apolitical. Only a 3-hour drive from Grand Rapids to Chicago. Abby Hoffman and Hunter S. Thompson would be there to support the poet candidate, Eugene McCarthy. We'd read the notices in the Village Voice. We felt there would be chicks there who believed in free love. Brad had an old red Volkswagen. We had painted the doors with big white peace signs. We wore beads and chin beards, long hair, and personalized holy blue jeans. One of us even wore granny glasses. When we got to Chicago, Grant Park was cordoned off by police barriers, so we stayed safely on the perimeter. We saw others running scared and bloodied on the head by Chicago cops, but no one bothered us. It went on for 2 days with us on the edge of the action. We slept in the Volkswagen on a side street until the third night when McCarthy had been robbed and defeated, Humphrey Clown substituted, the protesters beaten and jailed. We were leaving when a carload of drunken local teenagers pulled up alongside, threw a bottle at us, and yelled that they were going to kill us fucking hippies. They started to chase us through town. Brad began to panic. He just couldn't think fast enough. "Tell me what to do," he said. At one point, they blocked us into a blind alley. They got out with clubs and tire irons and ran toward us. "Drive right over that curb," I said, and we clumped over. It was one of those situations when time stretches out into slow motion. That's when we made a big mistake and turned the car onto the Eisenhower Freeway. Their big Buick rear-ended us, pushing the poor Volkswagen faster than it could go. The axle cracked in half and the bug rolled up a shoulder to collapse at a precarious angle, ticking its last heartbeats. We got out and ran. We climbed a chain-link fence, crossed some railroad tracks, and hid in a doorway as they crept past, looking to finish us. We got to a police station, but they didn't care. A black man took us via the L to the Greyhound station. The bus terminal was crowded with escaping demonstrators. Cops were herding people in a circuit up the escalator and back down the other side. We had to keep moving until our bus was announced. Brad was upset about the loss of his car. No chicks, yippies, or fun. I was upset that the attackers had been our own age. All the way home, I digested the sour truth. It would never be easy to distinguish our friends from our enemies again. Here's a prose poem. Dream home. In the home of the clown, there are many rooms. In the den, a statue of the Buddha palms some coins of the realm. In the bedroom, oversized clown slippers, clown boots, and clown flip-flops are scattered on the floor, like beached whales. There also stands the dressing table with its oval mirror ringed with solar bulbs. The clown looks into the mirror and sees a wise man with a big red nose. Books line the library walls, but they're all blank except one. The music room is full of drums. The clown beats the drums to celebrate sunrise and sunset each day. The living room floor is covered with pillows and balloons of every color. Calliope music plays continuously. The clown lives tenderly alone in his dream home. Another prose poem, Cave of the Spirits. I dreamt that the sight of the underground passages filled our hearts with an unknown light. Spirits lived in the caverns and in the giant domed treasure room at its very center. We laughed as we entered the chamber to see the profuse silver leaves and gold apples and the many metallic plaques covered with stars, moons, suns, and snakes. The luminous snakes were crawling up pyramids, striving for the summits, flying through the heavens with a trail of fire, or lying on the reflective golden heads of the gods. The cave was deep, warm, and wide. No one wanted to wake, but some of us couldn't help it. Brief nudity. You may glimpse it as you feel your way to the refrigerator at midnight, or while giving birth at 3 a.m., or maybe in a damp restaurant, in the damp restroom of a old off-Broadway theater where you may catch it revealed proudly and professionally by a promising younger actor. If you happen to see it in a good, clear mirror, you will most likely focus directly on your expressive eyes, except when your hair requires a combing, or a trim, or a better color, or to be conditioned for greater volume or thinned to reveal or conceal you. October. It's 6 a.m. in the universe and cold. The yellow sun makes another dawn in the lake above my head. Warm blue air lifts the blanket from my bed. Yesterday I wiped my father's blood from the white cloud walls of my home in another dream. Now, awake beneath the lake, I am alone. The cold gray water of the lake invites me in, but then I am rescued by my lover, the sun. A funny one. Gland Hotel. The beautiful blonde in the black bikini strokes the contours of a chrome peach. She eats it with a flash of silver teeth. The carpet is eggshell. The walls are pastry and cream. She consumes a chocolate chair with joy. Marshmallow trucks melt down vanilla highways. Toffee-flavored airplanes buzz above. She smiles, and they puff apart and blow away. Caramel men and mint women swim in the lovely milk pool. She drains it, leaving them high on the blueberry tile. Mechanical sausages fry on ice cream grills. Steel-belted onions lie in bins of cheese. The wonderful blonde in the black bikini opens her clever mouth, gulps it all down, and smiles, satisfied for now. What am I doing here? Traveling music. The wounded moon begins its long descent. A stable of restless horses whinnies in the glad wind. Uprooted trees roam south in search of higher ground. We are penetrated by the water of the perfect rainstorm, leaking into the blooded ground, leaking into the flesh of stone where the hot earth's heart pumps mountains skyward to break like waves on salty desert plains. These, starting with that one, there's about 4 of them that develop a kind of a running metaphor here, using the flowing water. In the wake. Halfway through hurricane season, the lost rain returned to the body. Sad monsoon after the big wave that flooded our defenseless cups, that left us waterlogged but thirsty, even as the angry tide receded, even as the ancient tears ran undammed from new eyes that opened underwater to see the useless furniture swirling inexorably toward the sucking drain, whirlpooling with dollar bills into a foreign currency, faces adrift in low vapor, shoreline lined with dying dreams, fading in, out. As we turn our attention toward the eternal magnet at the center of the galaxy, let us attempt to pause where a pause is impossible, to stance before the shaggy beast who guards our illusions in the prison of our dreams. In the hard rain that beats away at our poor, deteriorating roofs, we search for cover, but instead find only diaries of lost childhood scattered across lighted pools of fantasy, floating amid some special toys, forgotten but not lost. Yet the long days drift by in currents both dark and light, still all like storm-lost branches out of reach, while on the temporal shore we see our unnatural enemies as well as our intentional friends passing on their journeys to where even oceans must drain. When fathers die, their sons inherit their father's memorabilia, but both of their memories are lost forever in an infinite pause, frozen wavelets in the margin between the edge of the universe and our elusive reflections. And this is the last of that little group there. This is my favorite new one here. Flood tide. Another day surges over the horizon, flotsam sloshing through its dark sluice. Loose pages drift in pools like travelers asleep beneath the hills. There is no bowl to contain our tears, just flooded floors in a hastily abandoned factory. Though pleasure pours like rain, we swim on until dark, emerging from the water's edge, smelling like wet sand. Submerged beneath our common respiration, we wonder if the ocean breeze will keep us on course or blow us back into ourselves. We have thrown down our breathless waves, arriving home late, but still somehow hopelessly adrift. There is no pail for love. Even though we've wrapped ourselves within each other's arms, each of us still drowns alone. This is my free advice one that I usually end with, but I don't know how much time I got. How am I doing, Dave? Yeah, okay, I'll just do this one. What to do next? You arrive at the station with your pockets full of time. You're so invisible that girls walk right through you. Throw away your ticket, skate away. The clouds burn out and ashes rain upon your head. Your bones ache from being used as jail bars. Get up and move on to the next holdup. A dog on the coffee table. A roller derby in the ice cream. A piano roaring down the road. A monkey with a gun has got you covered. Keep your eyes straight ahead. She has too much, but she wants a little more. The room is loud, and the walls are turning brown. Your ears are burning with old sounds. Don't die. Just take a deep breath, get up, and fly.